So it was really a walk down a memory lane, and I couldn't put it down because I wanted to see where the next color change will fall. It's my project and I can do what I want. Hello, I'm Zanete. I'm the designer behind Zanete Knits, and welcome to another one of my knitting pattern deep dives. This time it's on a top called the Flashback top, which is technically a DK weight project worked seamlessly from the top down. In this video, I'll cover the inspiration, the yarn and needles and gauge, as well as the construction and techniques used, and finish with some possible customizations and modifications you can do on this pattern. This year is a big year for me because I'm celebrating 5 years since my first self-published knitting pattern, and that date is actually coming up next week, and it coincides with the release of this pattern. So it felt fitting that I somehow try and incorporate all of my experiences in one project. And what better way than using up all the leftover yarns in 5 years of designing and knitting. Knowing that there's going to be a lot of different colors and textures going on, I needed a very plain and simple design. So I chose this really plain stockinette V-neck, very classic, so that the stitch pattern and the details of it didn't take away from the yarn. I wanted to create a marled effect. So I gathered together all of my fingering weight leftover yarn. I arranged it sort of by color or color family, and then I wound up a big ball holding 2 strands of this fingering weight yarn together, and I made a point of picking one strand that was a neutral light color and the other strand was always something contrasting, so it was a darker or brighter color. And I kept changing those independently, making sure that when it came to swapping out the darker color, I didn't make too big of a jump and sort of stayed in the same color family, or gradually changed into it, so you don't see contrasting blocks, but quite a homogeneous fabric. And I got quite a bit left. I think I can make another one that is cropped, but this way it took away all the worrying about which strand to pick next, and I could just focus on the knitting. And it also made it more intriguing because I had no idea how the colors will play out, which added to the excitement in making this. And I couldn't put it down because I wanted to see where the next color change will fall and how it will look. I guess I'm cheating a little bit with the neckband and the armbands because I'm using 2 strands of light neutral yarns, but well, it's my project and I can do what I want, so the same goes to you. You're making it, you make the decisions. And as I was working on it, with every strand, I could recognize the project that I originally used the yarn for. So it was really a walk down a memory lane and remembering all the projects that I have worked over the past 5 years. A very nostalgic project. The gauge that is needed for this project are 20 stitches times 28 rows in 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches, and I could achieve that with 4mm needles for the main fabric. For the ribbing, the finishing detail, I'm using a 4.5, or you can use 4.75. Depending on how tighter you want it to be. And the construction is fairly simple. We start by casting on the stitches at the back here just for the neck width, and then we increase along the shoulder seam here to the full width of the back, and then we work straight down to underarm and add some increases to shape the armhole. And then we pick up stitches for the left and right shoulders along that shoulder seam there at the back, and we work that down to where the 2 fronts meet by doing some decreases here to shape the armhole and some increases here along the neck to make the V-neck. And when the fronts meet, we again knit a little bit straight and start adding increases here for the armhole shaping. And when the front and the back are at the underarm, we join it all in the round to work in one piece, and it's smooth sailing. There are fake pearl seams at the side to keep it structured, and you make it as long as you desire. There's no shaping, waist shaping or hip shaping for that matter, but it's plain stockinette, so it would be quite easy to adjust for your body type. And you finish with a 1x1 twisted rib like you can see here for the neckband. There is 3 options really for the arm finish. You could leave it without any finish because the edge stitch is worked as selvage by slipping every second row, and there is a purl stitch just not too far to keep it from folding over or rolling back. But if you want, you can add these armbands. The instructions in the pattern are for short row shaped armbands. You can see I'm using short rows to make the top of the armband slightly wider than down here. But you could omit that, of course, and make it the same width all around if you wanted to. The third option is a set-in sleeve, where the sleeve cap is shaped with short rows again, and you can make that as long as you desire as well. The pattern is for a very short sleeve, so there are no decreases incorporated if you wanted to make a long sleeve one. But again, because it's stockinette, you shouldn't have too much trouble to make this into a long sleeve top as well. And last but not least, you can add this tiny little neckband with a central double decrease here to make a nicely shaped V. The short rows are only necessary if you choose to make short row shaped armbands or the sleeves. Otherwise, you can do without short rows. And all the techniques that are used in this pattern have links to videos from the pattern available. Now, I've made a point to make this quite fitting around the armhole because for a couple of reasons. I know that as I wear my knits, they stretch, and I really don't want to wake up one day with the bra strap showing along the side, so I make a point to make it quite fitted. But if that is not comfortable for you, or you need to extend the length of the armhole or the armhole depth for any reason, there is some instructions on how you can adjust the pattern to make a longer top part here. You could of course use any yarn, any DK, or any fingering held double. You don't have to use scraps, and you could even make striped version, but just for that reason I need to make a note that the back and the front, before they meet here at the underarm, are not the same length. That is to shape the back neckline. Some of the front goes towards the back to lower the top of the back. And for that reason, for your size, you should read through the pattern and see how many rows you have for the back versus the front, and how you need to adjust changing the colors for stripes to ensure that the stripes align when the front and the back meet to go in the round. And I believe that's it for this pattern. It's coming out in a few days. If you're a newsletter subscriber, you will get your exclusive discount code in the mail as soon as it's come out. And if you decide to make it, I hope you enjoyed the walk down the memory lane that this will inevitably take you on. And that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.